Well, hey, I'm Rebecca Folks, happy homemaker, mom to 4 busy kids, and online entrepreneur. I've spent over a decade in this space working with high-achieving, high-performing women who carry the weight of juggling all the things. After many ups and downs of creating balance between home life, work life, and a million kid activities too, I learned how to slow down to actually accomplish more of the important things. I believe in all the to-doing, there are deep spaces in women's hearts that are sacred to us. Conviction in our identity, hospitality around our tables, and that quiet strength that only comes when we lay our head down at night, confident we're doing a good job where it matters most. Consider this a melting pot of wisdom learned over the years. From homemaking and wellness to influencing and marketing, we're diving into the topics that have created more peace, more joy, and in the end, more margin in my business and my life. Welcome to Wide Open Spaces. Well, welcome back. I am so thrilled to be wrapping up and kind of putting in a final installment on this series where we've highlighted different women in business, boss babes, if you will. I know that kind of can give some different feels when you hear the word boss babe, but when you hear it, you know who I'm talking about. That I'm talking about women who have been ambitious and successful in their careers, that they are the face and the brand behind what they're creating. And I had the best time listening to the incredible stories from Katie Reese, who has this just insane business that she's created over the last 10 years in interior design. I loved hearing the stories. I loved hearing how she's managing it while also raising 4 kiddos and just kind of the obstacles that can bring in, and then just the success that she's been able to push through and the vulnerability and saying, and yeah, sometimes this is really, really hard. And then we talked to Kathleen Weber of K. McCarthy. She has a storefront in the fashion retail space there in Nashville, Tennessee. Loved hearing just the story of how she had a dream and what it has come to be in the last 10 years. And then we highlighted Brandy Harp last week with John Underhill Real Estate. And I loved hearing how Brandy was someone that really was seeing a lot of success on a completely different career path. And then started to kind of talk to her husband, and they said, what if? And they just had created this incredible business over the last 10 years, being kind of the premier real estate agency firm here in Arkansas. And so getting to highlight all 3 of these women was really just a joy. I had so much fun listening to their stories, and I was inspired by all 3 of them. And so were y'all. And interestingly enough, the majority of the messages and the emails and that I've heard over the last few weeks, what was the most inspiring to you was hearing women talk about how this has been hard to do all the things, and just appreciating the vulnerability and the transparency in these women who have created these very successful brands, and saying, yeah, sometimes it felt like I was a hot mess, or sometimes I had this obstacle and, I didn't know how I was going to come out of it. And just the way they were able to share some of those hard parts of their stories. And so as I was thinking about kind of how I was going to wrap up this series, I thought, you know what? I've been doing network marketing for the last 10 years. It was 10 years this July. And so I thought I would tell you just a little bit about my journey, my story, kind of unexpected things along the way. And just wanted to share what that's looked like, because obviously there's been some traditional and conventional stories that we've shared. And then maybe this one is a little bit unconventional, but it has been something that I have loved, that I have learned so much the last 10 years. And I wanted to share that with y'all. It's actually, I actually started network marketing. I did another company called Arbonne for a couple of years before I found Plexus. And I just called my sister one day, and I had met these women, and I was watching kind of what they were doing. And I just called her and said, why don't we do what they're doing? And so we jumped in. It was kind of makeup and skincare. I thought it was the best thing ever. I was going on the trips, going to the retreats. I learned so much. And I just enjoyed it so much, to be honest. I kind of had marginal success there. I was paying my mortgage, which I was huge for a stay-at-home mom with little kids at home. And I didn't really know that that was important to me. I didn't know that it was something that would bring a sense of confidence and pride to be, contributing like that. But it sure did. It sure did. And, I really kind of started as a way to have just some more discretionary income for whether date nights or shopping budget or whatever. And my like high hope in it was to make $500 a month. I always was just like, if I could just add a little margin here, that would be helpful. And that was really all I was looking for. And so it was, really fun to be able to, and rewarding to be able to do more than that. But the company that I was with at that time, it was a party company, and they may not even do that like that now. But at that time, that was really the main way you would kind of meet people and connect and sell your product. And while I loved it, I really did. I loved the parties. I know people talk about, I would never want to do parties. I actually thought it was so fun connecting with women and helping them to feel confident and beautiful, and just I just love being around women. And so that was really fun. But then I had a third baby. And so when that happened, I was not able to be gone a couple nights a week. Plus I was so sick, pregnant. And so I just kind of put a pin in network marketing, and I thought, I'm going to come back to this one day. So fast forward several years, and I had looked at other network marketing companies along the way. I had friends that would reach out, hey, you should look at this. And I kind of had this mental checkbox of things I liked and didn't like about my other company. I had even sent in, messages, which this is just, I started doing this at Plexus very early on as well. Like, hey, what if we did this? Or what if we changed this? And there was an area in the compensation plan over there that I thought, if you could kind of have a bonus structure around this, I thought that would be really rewarding and all these things. I never heard back to my great idea there. But when I had a friend message me about Plexus, and when I was looking at their compensation plan, I noticed this was part of their bonus structure, was this kind of thought that I had, I wish they would have this in here. And so I was like, oh, that's cool. Because by that point I had kind of started to understand different compensation plans and could compare and contrast in different ways. And when my mom had actually started on the products with Plexus way before I had even heard of it. And she did tell me one day, she goes, you should sell this. I think this is great. Like, I'm loving this stuff. Here's what I'm loving about it. And I just kind of was, one ear, one out the other, whatever. But then a month or so later, when this friend reached out to me, and she was someone that I really respected. She was, 10 years or so older than me. And she was from a family that's kind of a pillar in our community. And she had multiple degrees and graduate degrees. And she had, great jobs all over the country, even, traveling internationally with her jobs. And so I just kind of looked at her as someone that I really respected. And so when she was asking me about it, and she was telling me all these reasons that she thought I would be good at Plexus, at social selling, I was like, well, if Elizabeth's doing it, then I'm gonna listen to this a little bit more, and I want to do what she's doing. And so I just kind of jumped in. And one thing about me is I've always been a pretty confident person. I'm hyper aware of things that I am not great at and that I need to work on. And that's why I'm on a personal growth plan and lean into Jesus. But I also am aware of things that I do well. And I just kind of have a belief system in a lot of areas, like, well, if so-and-so can do it, then I can do it. And when I was watching these women, even in my town, that I respected and admired and had grown up with, that were doing maybe it was Arbonne, maybe it was Rodan and Fields, or my favorite little clothing line when my daughter was little was a direct sales line called Matilda Jane. And so these women that I just really did respect and admire and enjoyed being around. If there's anything I can say about the network marketing community, the women and the people that are attracted to this are people. They love helping people and supporting people, and they're ambitious and like going for goals and achieving, and love celebrating when other people achieve the goals, and they're willing to, idea share and brainstorm, and that kind of energy is just exciting and contagious to me. And so I've always loved the environment of network marketing. And so as I got into it, I kind of blindly, confidently, I just started working it. Like, I mean, I look back at myself and I'm like, you go, girl. I mean, I was posting, I was calling people up, I was texting. And I think one of the hardest things about this can be people are going to tell you no. I mean, you're in sales. So some people are going to, tell you no, and I mean, I look back now and I did see pretty quick success. I was kind of at the part, I'm not to the very top, but at a pivotal place in our compensation plan, averaging about 6 figures a year within a year. And so I look back now and I'm like, that was fast. But then as I was even thinking this morning, I'm like, but for the output that I was working it and had high belief, high confidence, willing to do hard things and all the things, I think it's very duplicatable and very repeatable. Make that word up. If you're willing to put out the output. And I think a thing that I see a lot of people do in network marketing is maybe they make a post or they reach out to a couple friends and they don't see immediate success. And so because of that, they stop. And so then they say that didn't work or that didn't work for me. And I think if people would have a little bit thicker skin, they'd be willing to realize you're going to kind of earn while you learn situation, that if you can have some endurance, you can see a lot of success here. The success patterns, the idea of making a sale and getting a commission on it, that does work. It just also requires output. And over the last 10 years of being in Plexus, I've had a lot of personal growth and having to learn different ways of doing things, learning different things about social media and connection and sales and marketing and things that I think some of it just being someone, I mean, I've always just looked at it like we're problem solvers. Like, okay, there's, our products, my product line is in health and wellness, the way that you just kind of see what problems are these solving, and then you talk about that. And I don't have a problem with that because I know that the products do work. And so that just gave me a confidence, whether it was listening to testimonies from people that I knew or people that my friends knew, that gave me such a confidence to reach out and to say, hey, do you want to try this? And to go from there. I think kind of a misconception. Now, it would be true on me. People are always wanting to say, oh, this is Rebecca was a college dropout and a stay-at-home mom. And I think at some point during my journey, I'm like, maybe that's not like a selling feature, because I think some people think, oh, this would be for people that didn't do anything else or that didn't have another way to make money. And I look at so many of my friends, really all of my friends have college degrees. They were in other career paths. But they started going, okay, is there another way that I could be making dollars for my family than being gone for an entire day? And so, I mean, I have friends that are, teachers, that were mathematicians and data analysts, that were in fashion merchandising or ad PR, that were therapists or attorneys. I mean, lots of different career paths that were just looking at this and saying, maybe I'm interested in that. And I actually remember about a year in to doing Plexus, my friend and we were sitting at the pool one day on a, paid for 5-star vacation. And we were talking about, so often people say you need a a why to do this. You need a reason why you're doing it to push through. And we were sitting there going, I feel like I always thought, we were sitting there in that conversation going, I don't know why you wouldn't do this. Like if you're on social media, if you're someone that loves to share, if you sit by women at a ballpark or you sit by, women over here. I mean, I was sitting next to a dad at a ball game Friday and Thursday night. And he's sitting there talking about not having energy and his sugar cravings are off the wall. And I'm like, well, I mean, you can try this, I mean, it's just, it comes up in conversation and then you just have to be willing to say, well, I have something for you. And some people are not. And so that would just mean this probably isn't a career path for you. But if you're someone that loves to have something that does help and support people, then it's actually really fun. And I think back to all the stories over the years that, kind of being a keeper of the stories, where whether it's people that are calling you and they had a child that had a skin condition that was gut related and the products helped, and they're calling and they're crying, telling you, oh, these have made such a big difference in my kiddo or in my spouse or in themselves. That's huge. Or, a friend early on calling me from right outside the American Girl doll store in Dallas. And she's someone that a big part of my job is totally selling product in just the company that I'm in. But another way to just maximize the pay plan would be to also help people to get started selling the products as well. And so when you're teaching and training them and helping to support the people that they bring in, you're getting a commission on that. So that exponentially grows your paycheck. And so this was someone that I had kind of been coaching over the last year to come in to the company. And she had kind of started on the using Plexus as a business opportunity. And she called me outside the American Girl doll store in Dallas. And she and her husband were both educators and worked, 60 hours a week each. And, every dollar was accounted for. And so she just called me outside the American Girl doll store crying and just saying, Rebecca, we just came up here for this, some kind of holiday event that was in Dallas that weekend, and had stayed at, the Gaylord, and had taken both their girls to the American Girl doll store and been able to get them both the American Girl dolls. And she was just crying saying, you don't understand. Like, this is not what we get to do with our, the salaries that they had, and that just what Plexus had done for them. And just that I didn't realize this was such a dream and something that I had kind of put to the side and just thought that's not for us. But because of network marketing and because of just sharing some products that she loved, what that had done for her. And those stories are so precious to me, of just the ways that the products and the opportunity has helped people. And I mean, now there have been absolutely stories where I think about also like calling a friend, and this was early on, and calling a friend who was kind of a few years older than me, and really like a cool girl, a cool girl. And she was someone that I dearly loved. I'm saying that, like someone that I looked up to and was like, oh, this is someone that everyone loved and all these things. And I called her and I was telling her, I think you would be great at this. And she had a job, a corporate job, and she had just had a first child. And so I was telling her, hey, I think you could do this, if you aren't even loving your corporate job, and you could be at home with your kiddo, which that was not her dream, obviously. And there's plenty, obviously there are so many people that love their jobs, love their careers, and this is not what they want to do. And they don't want to be home. And this girl definitely did not. And she made it very clear. It was like crickets, total crickets. And I can see where I was standing. She was like, I would never do that. And I can't even believe that you would think I would want to do that, or something along those lines. And I remember all of a sudden I was sitting on the floor and thinking, I don't even know how I ended up here on the floor, but here I am. I just my whole body, it just sunk down. And I remember kind of having a moment in that after that call and being like, what am I doing? Do I want to keep doing this? Is everything okay? And just replaying back all the health stories and the stories like the American Girl doll and going, yes. But I mean, have I had moments like that? Well, absolutely. Absolutely. Um, but the good stories definitely outweigh the bad. And part of that, I mean, who knows what I said in that phone call that, maybe I was belittling or something. I have to her I have no idea. So, I mean, it could be I have messed up a gazillion times along the way and, done bad sales and marketing or just word vomited on people or, possibly just sent a message to someone that I hadn't talked to in a million years just to sell. I'm sure I've done it all. But 10 years in, I look back at, I have continued to see this as a way that I can grow and can create something. And that's what, when people that are doing this well years later, they've learned systems and processes and ways to professionalize what they're doing. Are we posting on social media? Yes, just like Coca-Cola and Bobble Bar and Nordstrom and all your favorite stores. And it's been something that has been huge for my family. And I still, and for so many people that are just everyday people that are going, what if, and I can do that. And I love those people. And anytime someone says, could I do that? Do you think I could do this? A lot of people say, I just don't think I could do what you do. That's a very common thing people say. And I'm like, well, tell me why, or tell me why not. Because if you're sharing about your favorite recipe, hey, I made this recipe last night, or hey, my kids, had a baseball game last night, or hey, here's some cute earrings I found. They're on sale, or Sonic's having 2-for-1 corn dogs today. Whatever it is, if you're posting those things, then being able to post and say, oh, and I found something that I love, it's just not that much different. It's just honestly what I found again and again and again and again. It's super simple processes. It's just the belief and the talk that we tell ourselves about what it means. And that's honestly a big part of my job is kind of that thought coaching and talking to people on my team that I'm working with about what they're thinking or believing or, what's kind of holding them back. It's not the way that you do this is very simple. It's just kind of like I said in the beginning, it's the output that actually drives the needle. A lot of people don't want to do, but it has been something that for me has been fun and challenging and a way for me to really see there were so many parts of my mom says that growing up, I always had a baby doll in my lap, but I also liked to play on the computer. So I would pretend, I think I always wanted to be like an attorney growing up. And so I would pretend like I was in a law office, but I had a baby in my lap. And so she said I was destined for something like this. And I think that's so true. There have been so many areas of my life with homemaking and being a mama and being a wife and having people in my home, like these really sacred spaces that are so dear to me. But then this other side of me that totally loves goal setting and achieving and strategy and brainstorming and ideation and all of those things. And it just allowed me to do both. And oddly, it allowed me to honestly have more capacity for some of the kind of challenging or mundane things, monotonous things in home life and being a homemaker. It because I just kind of could see a bigger, not a bigger picture, because I'll always think my biggest ministry and impact is happening within my four walls. But it just gave me a little more capacity for some of the things that weren't my favorite parts of my home job, And so I've loved that. And looking back, I was what was I doing? I was an English journalism major. I think I had just switched to kind of add PR in college, and I think my dad would probably still, if I went to him and like said, I really want to finish college. He'd be like, okay, good. I'll pay for it. Because that was something that he was, wanting to help all his kiddos with. And I look back and I did get off the college horse in I guess my junior year when I had Avery. Anyway, my junior year. And I look back and I just think, I'm so glad. Like, if I could pick any job today, I would pick this. I cannot imagine a better fit for myself and my lifestyle and what I've been able to do and achieve and the rewards and the community. I have had the best time. And I think that's still why I have so much energy and confidence in what I'm doing, that I'm still talking to people about, hey, you should come do this with me, because it's such a great opportunity for people that are willing to do the output, to manage the thought hurdles, and want to do something that's maybe a little out of the box, but has probably less out of the box in 2023, but has really had lasting impact. And just like I said, the kind of the keeper of the stories, that has been just a sweet surprise in all of this. And so, if you're someone that maybe you're thinking of someone when you're hearing this, send them my way or send them this episode, because I love referrals. I love connecting with people. I work really closely with the people that I bring into this, and I just get so much joy out of being able to connect with people about this. And so, 10 years in, I still just think it's the best gig out there, and I'm proud to be in the network marketing space. So, that kind of wraps up our Women in Business and Boss Babe series. And next week, we're kicking off one all about family. And as I thought we'd focus on that during October before getting into a lot of family dynamics in November and December. And so I'm really excited about the guest, about the series, and to see you back here on Wide Open Spaces. You just finished another episode of Wide Open Spaces. My hope is always that you felt encouraged as you listened. And if you found this valuable, will you share it with a friend today? Tag me if you do. I always love seeing your favorite takeaways. I'm so glad you were here, and I'll see you back next week. Same time, same place. See you then.